Hello, What's on Stage podcast listeners. It is Alex here with a little Monday bonus. As some of you might have seen over the weekend, Paddington the Musical had its very first preview at the Savoy Theatre, with pictures of Paddington released on social media to coincide with the first preview. Last week, we were lucky enough to sit down with the two stars that make Paddington happen, James Hamid, who plays Paddington off stage and remote puppeteers, and Artie Shah, who plays Paddington on stage. What follows is the interview with the pair. You'll hear Hamid first, and then Artie follows afterwards.
The language we're using is basically, I provide the voice, I do remote expression puppetry, is kind of how we do it. And there's also a separate character that I play called the Young Man, who I think, for me, and obviously that's going to be totally different for loads of different people, is he feels like my anchor in the piece. And that's what sort of keeps me centred within Paddington, is this separate character who happens to have a very similar story. And we tell a version of that story through this brilliant bear.
This is the first time I'm here, West End musical debut, and I can't believe it. And it is very different to film, but there are elements that I've taken on board from my past experiences, certain projects where I've worked with other actors, and for example, motion capture, doubling, Maz Kanata. A lot I learnt from there I've brought on here, because there's certain movements with certain dialogue and, you know, things like that that are very important. And again, the challenges which are different, but that's what makes you grow. I mean, not that I'm going to grow anymore, but but it helps mentally and physically. Yeah, and I take my job very seriously. Like, I went and sat in a sauna, fully clothed, before rehearsals, because it's you know, to train your body. Like, yeah, this is fine.
The work that we are constantly adding different elements to the remote puppetry. We got a new toy yesterday, and that was wild, but also exciting. I don't think there's a role like this, and that in itself is amazing. I didn't, when I was studying at drama school, I didn't think I'd be doing this, but it's its own amazing, phenomenal thing that I get to do, and I get to do it 8 times a week, and that's wonderful. And it's challenging, but like, challenges are what are part of life, yes. And it makes life exciting. Without giving too much away, because I want people to be able to suspend their disbelief and enjoy the bear. Through both of us, I really truly believe that we have enabled a way for you to feel like that is Paddington on the stage, and just let go of everything. And that's kind of the wonderful thing of live theatre, is the audience is already on board, and they already want to be sucked into this world. And I think through not just us, a huge village behind us of people who have been in every aspect of this show, enable us to do that. And I would be remiss, for not mentioning the fact that it's not just us two, it's a huge number of people behind us who are creatively exploring everything with us and enabling everything, and I'm excited for them to be revealed to the world as well, just as much as us. Yeah. I don't think there's ever been a role like this ever before, and that is so exciting to be a part of. And for 3 years we've been keeping it under our hats, yes. And I think it's just exciting to finally be like, here it is, and share the piece with an audience that we think, fingers crossed, yes, will, be hit by many different emotions. And I think people of all ages will really, really enjoy this.
It's been exciting to help develop it from 3 years ago, come on board and, share our thoughts and ideas. And it's just such a wonderful story. And he's such a joyful and delightful character to be part of and to be involved with. And almost finally, just to be able to share it with the world, it's just I would say, like a dream. It still doesn't feel real, if you know what I mean. Yeah. But people don't know what they're in for. And honestly, it's just magical. It takes you away, and it reminds you of all the kindness and the wonderful, gentle soul that Paddington is. And we really need that right now.
I mean, we've had a really long time, luckily, to build this together and to find a language that works. I think the creatives have also really enabled us to have more input, I think, and that's kind of the wonders of a workshop, is to be able to have loads of input, and the fact that we get to actually bring that to a stage as well. I think it's rare for performers to be able to have the opportunity to be part of an entire process and then deliver it to a stage. I think that's quite special, it feels.
And I think we work pretty well together.
Yeah, I think so.
And it does help that we can read each other's minds when we're on stage. But yeah, no, it's just a lot of fun as well. And yeah, there's too much to say.
Yeah.
We don't have enough time.
We never have enough time. But we've got a whole year to get through that.
Yes.
For me, for every workshop we've done, of which we've done many, my favourite thing that always happens is whenever a new person enters the company, whether that be a new creative person or a new cast member or a new production member, they all get to meet Paddington for the first time. And that moment is just so precious and beautiful. Like, it doesn't matter who that person is, how old they are, what their experiences are. Everyone has this quite visceral reaction, and it's so beautiful to get to see that and be a part of that in a way.
Yes.
And I know Paddington himself would feel that joy of being able to bring such a raw, beautiful emotion. I think is probably like the most vulnerable you can feel, and everyone gets to have that moment. I think that's actually what I'm really most excited about on opening night, on every single show, is being able to see a collective audience go, oh, that's Paddington on stage, he's real.
And obviously, which I won't get to see, because
yes,
for certain reasons I don't get to see it. I might be able to hear it, but it's so humbling to bring that forward. And there's a cast member who saw Paddington for the first time, and he came up to me and he just was really emotional, and he just said, "Thank you, you've made a dream come true." I just didn't know what to say or do, or I didn't know what emotion. There was just so much going on, but everybody's just so humbled and gentle, and oh my gosh, and the voice, your voice, it's just perfect. Really is. And there you go. My son plays a big part. He's 8 years old, and I get a lot of inspiration from him, and I'm still adding more and more as we're going along. His curiosity, innocence, and joyful nature. And it's so much fun because I'm a lot older and I have to be sensible and serious. But here, it's so much fun. It's a delight.
What was fun, I remember you saying one time during rehearsals, is I get to make a mess for
Yes,
once. And that has absolutely sat with me. I think that's such a hilarious thing. But it's true, and you get to just unleash that that side of you a lot more, which is really quite wonderful to see.
Yeah, thank you.
No, it's really lovely.
It's just so much fun, really is. I'm excited to share it and for them to see what wonder we've been working on, and to share the story, the music, the writing, choreography, and the phenomenal cast. Just share everything with everybody. It's just beautiful. I'm excited about that.
Yes, 100% that. I think what we've achieved over 3 years, but also through this rehearsal process, is I really think it's this collective of what makes British theatre great. We've collectively brought together this phenomenal creative team, this production team. We have Sonia Friedman behind it, who's probably one of the best producers going at the moment. We have this phenomenal team behind us. The cast are just, honestly, I don't know how we've convinced this many people who are this good to get on board. But, it's an amazing project to be a part of. But also the story is so important now more than ever. And I think that we are telling it in a way that opens its doors to everyone across whatever viewpoint they may have. I think it enables everyone to be able to go, oh, yes, I see this person who's looking for a home, who's looking for a place and looking to be welcomed, and I want to be a part of that. And I think that we, as guardians of that story, it's still universally so important, and I don't think it will ever stop being important. And we're just telling a version of that story in our way, which is really exciting. And I think that's what I'm most excited to see, as well as that first reaction.
And people are in the same room as him, right?
Yeah.
I mean, how cool is that?
It's phenomenal. Like, I genuinely believe that when people see this show, they will go, that is Paddington Bear on stage. He is real. That's a real bear singing and talking and dancing and moving and emoting. And I get to see that live. You don't get, it's not like a film where you get to pause it and walk away. You're experiencing it live. And that's so exciting.
We're also lucky enough to talk to the director Luke Shepherd, who has been steering the project for many a year.
It's very rare as a director that you get to work on something like this, a brand new British musical with the script and the music developed from scratch on such a scale, working with an incredible producing team and a creative team around me who are just at the very top of their game. And of course, Paddington himself is a real character, a personality, a storyteller who means so much to people. And so there's a great responsibility that comes with that, but also the potential to dream really big and to think in wonderful, colourful, exciting ways. And it feels a bit like a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. So something that was really important to us was that Paddington needed to feel like he could stand alone. So when you look at Paddington Station and he's there, this little bear at the centre of it, looking for a home, looking for someone to help him, we knew that we didn't want him to be surrounded by puppeteers, although that's an amazing way to tell a story. But for Paddington, we wanted to experience that loneliness. We didn't want any strings. We didn't want any puppeteering sticks or anyone visibly kind of manipulating how we brought him to life. And so really that was our sort of thesis for the piece. How do we make sure that Paddington is alone? And we worked with an incredible team who found a solution to that I think could really take an audience's breath away. And it's magical. It continues to blow my mind. And we've refined it over the years, but ultimately it's a theatrical way of telling this story through two artists combining their talents into one performance through, some people might want to call it a puppet, some people might want to call it a real life character on stage. We don't quite have the vernacular for it, but I'm looking forward to an audience giving us that feedback in the room of how they respond to it.
Writer Jessica Swale, responsible for hit plays like Nell Gwyn and Blue Stockings, reflected on what it was like writing lines for the iconic bear.
I think that rather than writing for a particular actor, when you write Paddington, you try and write his voice. Obviously, there's all the resources that exist, but also it's about who is our bear, who is he now, and who is he in 2025 in one sense, but also a timeless bear. You don't want anything in this show. We had some jokes that referred to modern elements like a hybrid Volvo, and we actually kicked them out because we wanted this to feel modern and relevant, but also to feel like it could be any time and any place, because there's something kind of beautifully old-fashioned about Paddington, as well as feeling like we wanted to capture the fact that this is a modern version of London as well, and all of the bright, brilliant things we love about living in this city, like how diverse it is, how interesting the culture is, the music and the world of the West End and what's on stage. So that's been a magic journey. But in terms of the bear and working with the performers, that's been absolutely transformative as a journey. And we tried so many versions of how to bring Paddington to life in the early days, and some of them you probably wouldn't want to see because we felt such a strong responsibility to get it right. And I wasn't sure that this was going to work. And then Luke, our director, who's been magnificent, there was a moment when he said he was going to introduce us to the bear, and we knew that the way that we were going to build the bear, but we've never met him before. And I was thinking, well, I don't get starstruck, worked in theatre forever with whoever, you're used to meeting celebrities. And it's a bear suit and animatronics, and how good can that be? And then this little bear stepped out from round the corner, and I was standing next to Tom, and we both gripped each other and both burst into tears, because it was like meeting, I don't know, like not even like meeting the Queen, like meeting, I don't know, it was like meeting Paddington for real. And that was such an early point of the genesis of the journey as well. And he's so incredible now. And the team, Tara and her team, who've put him together, it's so beautiful. And the detail of the work and how that's developed. Even things like his eyebrows and exactly how much he's Bear Teddy as opposed to Bear real bear, getting that right. Because actually, if he's too much like a real bear, if he's got teeth, for example, it's suddenly too real. But I think she struck the perfect balance, and just working with her and her puppeteers and the makers has been completely extraordinary.
And finally, we heard from Paddington designer Tara Zafar telling us all about how she brought Paddington to the stage and her journey coming to the project, and what they wanted to make sure audiences felt when they saw that bear for the very first time.
I do creature and costume effects and puppets and things like that in the film industry, but my background was from theatre, so I did theatre design and worked in the theatre industry when I first started, actually in musicals and things like that, and opera. And I got known for more extraordinary costumes and practical effects, and I moved across to the dark side and worked in films doing the same practical effects, exactly the same, but on kind of large movies. And the movies that if they've got practical effects of the things that I do, they're generally like sci-fi movies and things like that. I'm a complete geek, so I love that. So so where I met Neil and worked with Neil on Star Wars 7. And Sonia and Eliza contacted him, and he said, well, I know someone who gets your world and understands your world, because I come from theatre. I do a lot of live events, so I headed up head of costume, hair and makeup for the Olympic and Paralympic opening closing ceremonies in London. So I'm used to doing TV, live theatre. I still do other theatre projects. And as well as doing kind of really delicate, intricate work on the kind of effect side. So I got involved then in 2019, and then COVID came along. There was a bit of a pause, and then we've been developing and kind of working on and off post-COVID till now, and obviously gaining momentum from that time. So yeah, it's been a long project. Putting him on stage is very much a collaborative effort, and it's it's synchronizing lots of different departments who have helped create this bear. But we've I hope what we've done is he's just Paddington Bear, and that's all you're going to think about when you see him for the first time. I'm really hoping you will just go, wow, that's Paddington. That's what we want. We don't want to think about, and I don't want to tell you, to be perfectly honest, how we're doing it. We need to engage our imagination and in the world, I think, and when you see him, he just kind of hits your heart. And even though I've worked on him all these years, I still get that effect, that kind of like, when he is a star, and he's lovely to be around. We found a look for the bear that we really love. He's not completely real. He's also a bit toy-like. And so I think we respond to him in a very physical way with, his fur and, all that sort of thing, so that he just kind of hits your heart, and there you are. You're kind of looking at this lovely character, this innocent, in a very complex world, and you just enjoy the ride with his story.
Thank you for listening to this bonus episode of the What's on Stage podcast. We'll be back with our main episode on Friday, but in the meantime, have a lovely week.